right, hello and welcome to another episode of I Guess I'll Do It with Pat House. Today I have a very good friend of mine. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and I got a weird story to start this podcast off. But today, let's get to it right to it. Mike Mello is with me today. What's up, buddy?
Hey, bud, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I always start off
Awesome.
my podcast by talking about where I met my guest, and you and I met at Good Nights in Raleigh. And
Yeah.
dude, Facebook memories this morning, like literally today, showed me that I was at Good Nights 10 years ago with Gary Gulman. So crazy coincidence, you and I literally met 10 years ago this exact weekend.
Oh, wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
And Gary's a heck of a dude.
He's
So
a great
what a
dude.
great weekend.
I
Yeah.
had worked with him several times before in Philly and New Jersey and stuff. But that weekend 10 years ago was my first time ever going to Good Nights in Raleigh when like Helium bought it. And that
Yeah.
Gary Gulman week was my first weekend there. And I met you and a handful of other local comics that weekend.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was actually right when Helium bought it. Is
Yep.
actually when I could come back to the club because
Oh.
I was I was banned from the last owner.
Oh, man. Can we get into that? I would love to get off on this,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah, we could.
yeah. All
It's
right.
years
So
ago, and I'm safe.
okay, yeah. So take us back to what happened here, and then we'll backtrack
Yeah.
into other stuff in your career. But I mean, I had no idea
Yeah.
that you were banned from that club. So by all means, what happened?
Man, to tell you the truth, excuse me, I don't know. So the last owner, Brad Reeder, notoriously known comic slash club owner,
Mm-hmm.
was running Good Nights, owned it. And one day I came in, there's this guy, Sean Hesse. He used to do comedy. He had MS, so he was in a wheelchair a lot, or he had his walkers, whatever. And so before the show, before the doors even opened, they would sit him up front. That way we could carry him up the steps when
Yeah.
he had to get up on stage. So nobody's in there, and I go say hey to him. Just shooting the shit. I haven't seen him in a while. And this guy Ray, who is the house MC, comes up and is like, "Hey man, you can't sit up there. Comics supposed to sit on the side." I was like, "I know. I'm just saying what's up to him. Why don't you put a bubble around him?" Joking around. So then I go outside. I say hey to everybody. You know me.
Mm-hmm.
So say hey to the people working the ticket booth, and he pops up again. It's like, "Man, you can't loiter outside of the ticket booth." I'm like, "Dude, I'm walking outside literally. I just said hey to everybody." So as I'm outside, the owner comes out, finger wagging and everything, like, uh, "You can't follow the rules. You're banned tonight." And I was like, "What did I do?" He goes, "You can't follow the rules." I said, "What rules did I break?" He goes, "It ends now or ends forever." So I'm like, "Okay, he's in a bad mood. Whatever, right?"
What?
So yeah, this is all crazy. So the mic is about to start. People are filing in. So he's at the door, and I walk in, and I was like, "Hey, is it cool if I watch the show?" And he goes, "Not with that attitude." And I just started laughing, like, "What attitude?" And so I'm trying to talk to you like an adult. He goes, "It doesn't matter. You're banned for life." I was like, "Damn, mine or yours?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I banned? So he's going off on me, and I was like, "Dude, like, I don't understand what I did. Plus, I'm trying to talk to you like an adult." He goes, "What will your probation officer think about this?" So I just started laughing. He's trying to make me sound out to be a criminal, which I'm like, I'm from Cary. I need all the street cred I need. So the fact he said I got a probation officer does not bother me. And then he sees this other black comic, and he's like, "Well, I'm putting him on the stage." So then he bans me. But then not only he bans me, he's talked shit about me to other comics. So one of my good friends now, but then Joe Perot, you know Joe Perot. You met Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, we've met,
Red.
but yeah.
Yeah. So me and him were roommates for like 3 years after this. But Joe wasn't even picked to go on stage, and he goes, "You're banned from the club tonight. You're banned." He like picked like three comics. He goes, "If I see you anybody talking to Mello here at the club or outside the club, you're banned from my stage." So if he saw someone talking to me up the street, he would ban them. So the running joke was anytime like the comics would see his white minivan or a white minivan, they will push me in the bushes, be like, "My bad, man. I need that 5 minutes on stage." But
What
yeah,
a
he talked gas. Yeah, he's an asshole.
what a weird situation.
Yeah. So years went through. I moved to California and then moved back. And then when I came back, a little while after that, Helium bought it. And there's a write up in the paper, which I don't know who would say something. I guess they're talking to the owners of Helium. They said, "Well, would you let comics back in, such as Mike Mello, who was banned?" He goes, "I don't have nothing to do with that. Everyone's welcome." I'm like, "Why would you put my name out there like that?" Jesus Christ, whoever said that.
That's weird too.
Yeah. So, long story short, they let me back in, talked to Mark, the owner, and he said, "All right, tell me your story, and I'll tell you mine." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." So that guy was just a piece of shit to where even the owner was like, "Yeah, man, it's like walking on eggshells." But
That's so
yeah.
bizarre.
And then my first weekend back, I got hooked up with Tracy Morgan, my first working weekend.
Nice.
Then
And
it's
then that
been
worked
on
out
ever
very well for
since.
you, right? Didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Wrote
All
for him
right.
for a couple of years, and then yeah.
Cool.
So
Well,
long story short, that was it basically.
you came back and the shit was
Excuse
even
me.
better. So that's the best case scenario.
Oh yeah, and plus he had stayed on for 2 years as a consultant, aka booked me twice a year.
Okay. Nice. Um,
So
So let's go back to the beginning here. You and I have been buddies for a decade, but like everything else in comedy, we only cross paths every couple years because there's been times where we've crisscrossed paths on the road, or I've been in Raleigh and you were out of town. That's just the nature of the business that we do. But I don't know
yeah.
much about your backstory in comedy, and that's the whole purpose of this podcast. I love getting into people's psyche and why they got into it. So take me back to like, were you a young kid when you discovered stand up or comedy in general, or what?
Oh yeah, like growing up, I'm the youngest of eight, so I got
Oh, I didn't know that.
uh yeah, so I got like a nice helping of comedy just from my older siblings, whatever they watched, so a lot of All in the Family,
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson, Sanford and Son, stuff like that to start with.
Sitcoms, and
Then
I watched all
yeah,
those shows when I was a kid too. Man, those.
some of the best, and I still go back and watch them. Like, man, they're just still good. They still hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that and late night, of course, Johnny Carson was everybody's favorite. So just watching him do his monologue and his little bits,
Even
they're
even to this day, if I'm bored in like a hotel room on the road, I go back and I watch comedians on Johnny Carson. I just love not so much the panel sometimes, but like I love watching all those stand-ups on him. And to this day, I
oh
still love
yeah,
watching those clips, man. Paul Reiser's
there's
not Paul
nothing.
Reiser, Gary Shandling's first set on there is like
Oh
maybe
yeah,
the best 6 minutes of stand-up I've ever seen.
yeah, oh yeah. Gary was a big like all those comics then you knew were good. Just if you touched that stage, you were going to do something.
Oh, like the
But also
next
you get that,
day.
yeah, thumbs up from Johnny was everything. You know,
Everything. It was so monumental for
so
comics in the 70s and 80s.
oh yeah. Plus it was like it was kind of like showcase my first showcasing of different comics.
Mhm.
Because of course I grew up with like my parents' albums. They had anywhere from Bill Cosby to Richard Pryor, and I
Oh,
think
that's awesome.
Richard Pryor was the first one I heard. They're actually watching it. I think it might have been on like one of his stand-ups, maybe Sunset or something. But I remember walking in the middle of the night, just waking up thirsty, going to get a drink, and I heard my parents laughing, and I was like, "What are they laughing about?" So I just sat down in the kitchen in the corner, kind of hid, and listened to them laughing at Richard Pryor, and I was laughing too, even though I damn sure didn't understand. But I heard the rhythm and the music of it.
That is
It's like,
such a cool memory that stood out with you too, because I had the exact same thing, um, not with Pryor per se, but with my dad watching like Carlin or like
uh,
uh, HBO Comedy Relief, all sorts of comedians.
yeah, oh yeah, that's where my I got my start. Like really understanding straight stand up.
So that's cool. Same thing with me. Like it stood out to me as a kid. Like stand up in particular, like really
Yeah,
stood out to me, and I noticed the cadence and their body. maneuvers and watch these people like everything about it. The little nuances even stood out to me when I was a really young kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is that, of course, Saturday Night Live with that original cast where I grew up, like when I started watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you had Garrett Morris, John Belushi, all those cats.
Dan
And
Aykroyd,
it's
Jane
funny.
Curtin.
Oh my God, all of them. Yeah, it's just like I was just exposed to a lot of different comedy, especially like British comedy. Growing up,
Oh,
Monty
okay. Uh,
Python, Benny
I'm
Hill was my porn. You know,
I'm a
so
huge Monty Python fan. Huge,
man,
huge,
love Monty
huge Monty
Python.
Python fan. My favorite sketch of all time, like sketch group, I should say. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
just the movies were great. I mean, Holy Grail is probably in my top 5 of all time. Life of Brian and Meaning of Life, but even just like
yeah.
Monty Python's Flying Circus, like man, they
Oh
got in
yeah,
so much trouble. They were pushing the buttons and pushing the envelope in like the late 60s and getting in trouble, and they just kept at it for decades. Like,
that's what I appreciate. British humor. One is so dry and in your face, like
mhm.
just sarcasm in it was just like it was just awesome to me. I like understood it. As a kid, you're just like, man, these guys are dicks,
Yeah,
but it
kind
was
of.
hilarious. Yeah,
And it's like, are they being pompous or are they just British?
yeah,
I can't, I can't tell.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, so when you were a young kid and you are taking this in for the first times, did you have any inkling that you would try it, or were you just intrigued by it?
I was intrigued by it. I so like me and another comic had this discussion. Like I think like once I understood it, and probably like in the '80s, I would go to school with bits. Like
Repeat them at the lunch table, kind of thing.
oh man, be like, oh, this is gonna kill in class. Like it'll be quiet in class, and then there'll be a car horn. I'm like, excuse me, the kids will laugh. I'm like, I'm killing it. Just the dumbest little things. But it was always like I found that comedy was a way to escape what I was all the BS I was dealing with at home. So I'd go
Hmm.
to school and just be funny, just so I could forget about what was going on at home.
Were other kids into comedy too? Like, did you have friends that you could talk about this kind of stuff with?
No, not really. It was kind of more of a just I was just a class clown and just had that imagination, I guess. Like because the next siblings next to me are 5 years ahead of me, so everyone else is like kind of close. So it's a
Uh,
lot of alone time, even
so
though like
so
I'm
you're
I'm in a big family, but
yeah, you're the
damn
baby,
it,
but
I
you're still
guess.
separated by a big age gap.
Yeah, exactly. So the accident, you know,
No.
the oops. So, but
Did your
yeah,
did your parents tell you you were an oop, or did you just kind of piece that together when you got older?
no, I pieced it together. It's like, all right, everyone else is like a year or two apart. There's a set of twins, and then I come like 5 years later.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, come on, I already know.
Did you
Y'all were
ever
planning
bring
for
it up though
seven.
as an adult or anything, or later in life at all?
Nah. Well, one, because I was born on my dad's birthday. So he's always like, you're a gift. He's like, from hell. But yeah, it never really was brought up. But I always knew, like, y'all weren't planning me.
Yeah,
But they kept me. So that's a good thing.
always a good thing. Always a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
so how did this pan out until you actually started doing stand up? What was the catalyst where you were like, all right, I'm trying this?
Well, I would say, so I started when I was 30. So I had went to jail on some BS.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there for like 2 weeks. And I remember as I took a fall like an idiot because I'm like, I ain't got no record. And but I was doing some shit too. Don't get me wrong, but
Uh
I
huh.
took a fall for somebody. And I remember being in there like, dude, this sucks. Like it's my first time going to jail. I'm in there for a minute. So I remember my brother bailed me out. My older brothers, he's like my second dad, my brother Robert. And he was just like, dude, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do with your life? And I was about to tell him, he's like, I don't want to hear it. He said, just write it on this napkin. So I wrote, I want to be a comedian. He never looked at it, folded it up. But when I was in jail, it was like, man, I want to do something. I was like, man, because I wanted to do it before then.
Uh huh.
I went to a mic that was sold out at Good Nights, and this dude bombed, had tears in his eyes, and I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to feel that at all. So that took me another couple of years to even think about it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite. I thought you were sitting there and you were thinking, "Oh, I could do this. This guy," and not cry.
Oh no, dude! Like, I remember I gave the guy a courtesy laugh because everyone was killing it except for this dude. And I
Oh,
remember I gave him a courtesy laugh, and this guy 2 chairs over just gave me a look like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know the rules," and just kind of cowered into my seat. I'm just trying to get this guy's hopes up
like I don't want this
because you
guy to
can see
hang
that.
himself later.
Oh my god, you can see the tears in his eyes, like welling up, his face all flustered, losing color, and I'm
So,
like, "Screw this."
so you were
So
just hanging at that mic, right? You didn't sign up or anything.
yeah, no, I just went in to watch. Me and this girl I was dating because she's like, "You should try comedy," and I'm like, "Screw this shit. I ain't doing that. I don't want no parts of that."
Yeah, I'm not
But
crying in public.
yeah, right. Like they ain't gonna send me home like that. But then after I went to jail, I was like, dude, it can't get that couldn't be as worse as this, any
Mm-hmm.
worse than this, where I'm at. So yeah, I went to had an audition then for a mic, which was tough.
Oh, that's some New
And
York
then
City shit.
yeah, that was good nights with the original owner. You had an audition because like
Get
they
on
were
the open
sold out
mic.
every week. Yeah, they were
Wow.
sold out every week, and you had to be funny to get up on that stage because they only put 12 up, and you had to be like a funny 12.
Oh, wow.
Like so, like I auditioned. I didn't make it my first time, but the lady liked me. The lady running the mic, and come to find out, that lady running the mic was my mom's best friend at work.
No kidding.
No kidding, swear to God, man. And so apparently, my mom said was talking to her. Was like, "How was the mic?" She was like, "It was good." She's like, "Was there any funny people?" She's like, "There's this one kid who was funny. I told him to come back. His name is," and she looked at my mom like, "Oh shit, was that your son?" She goes, "You ain't put my baby up." But
Oh my god, that's
so,
hilarious.
yeah, but she put me on after that, but she was hard as hell on me.
Your
Like
mom was,
she didn't.
or the woman
No,
running the mic.
the lady running the mic,
Oh
she
yeah,
was tough on me. So
because of your
I feel
mom,
like
or she would like, or was she just
I think
personally
because she
rooting
knew
for
my
you?
mom.
Oh yeah.
I think she was personally rooting for me, but also she wanted me to make sure I knew the rules. I knew what was up, I guess. Because when
Okay.
you get on for the first time and you're doing well, you don't
Mm-hmm.
see no light. You're
No.
like, light? What light? You're like, I'm feeling it. And I got off stage. She goes, "Oh, you did a great job. Now buy a fucking watch." And I was like, "Oh shit, yes,
Oh,
ma'am."
that's
Never went over my time.
so. Was your
you
very
know.
first set at Good Nights there?
Yep.
Oh, very cool. How
Yep.
did that first set go?
That was good, man.
Most people's are. It's kind of
Yeah, it
funny. I
was.
find that doing this podcast, most people, the first time goes well.
Oh yeah, my first 3 times, I thought like I had it. I'm like, oh, this shit's easy. And then that fourth one, man,
And
I was back at the house with the butter knife to my wrist,
that was
just
me
putting
after two.
creases.
First two went
Oh yeah,
well, and then yeah, it was rough for literally because I was only getting on stage once a week at the time, Wednesdays at the Laugh
yeah.
House. So my first two sets went well, and then I don't think I had a good set for 2 or 3 months after that. Like I was bombing
Oh
every single
really?
Wednesday. Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
But
yeah.
I do find it that most comics do well their first time because it's so exciting. You're like there's an
Yeah, I think
adrenaline
your
rush you can't
energy is
even.
pumped. Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you did suck, you swear like if you get a couple laughs, you're like, oh, I'm killing.
So
Uh,
were you hooked after that very first time?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Like it's funny because I was thinking about improv, so I really like stand that line. But once I did stand up, and I'm like, oh, it's like that, straight to the vein. Like, oh my god, I can't think of anything else
Just
right now.
immediate
Oh yeah,
gratification. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All
I have
right.
an addictive personality anyway. So,
So you dove right. Me too, man. I dove right in. So you
yeah,
So yeah, were you in it after that first time? Were you back every week finding other mics and making other friends and stuff?
yeah. Well, it was weird because so when I started. when I did good nights, they would quit their mic over the summertime. So then there weren't that many mics around. So I would go up like once a week, every other week, if possible. Sometimes that was
Oh,
back when I would drive a couple of hours to go get some stage time, just wherever it was. I was trying to go get it.
yeah. In the early
But
days, you do that.
um,
I
yeah,
did
because
it.
you're chasing that dragon, man. You're like, I need some more laughs, you know,
Driving hours and hours for an
5
unpaid
minutes.
spot. Yup.
Yeah, yeah. But
We
it was a
have
lot of that. But I wasn't getting up
just
there, you know.
what else was around here besides Raleigh? Did like was there a
Charlotte,
stage time within? Okay, Charlotte's like 2.5 hours, right?
yeah, 2.5. High Point used to have a room, which is like an hour.
Okay,
Burlington, like Chapel Hill,
okay.
they
So
are
there was
like,
stuff within the area.
yeah, but not that much. You have to catch it when they put it up because they go, oh, we started a mic here, and it'd be gone like 3 weeks later.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Those
but not like it is now. You know,
yeah. Comedy seems to be thriving everywhere right now.
oh my God, yeah, a lot.
A
This
lot.
a lot. Like when you see three shows going on in the same night, you're like, okay, you're
Yeah,
pulling in different directions now. You know.
yeah. Who was around when you first started? Like, who did you look up to in the scene locally? Anybody I would know?
Luckily, I don't know. Let's see. It's got Mike Spurlock.
I know the
He had did
name. I
it
don't
for a
think I know
while.
him.
Yeah, he had toured with Mitch Hedberg. Funny one
Oh,
liner comic, man. Really enjoyed just writing with him because he taught my mindset to think like a one liner. But because when I started, I was mostly one liners, and then
so
I
was
switched
I.
over to four.
So was I. A lot of
Really?
setup punch. Yeah. Oh yeah. For like the
Yeah.
first 2 years, I would say, and like
Yeah, it's probably about the same for me.
and then I learned how to like. I was in college, so I learned how to like actually talk about things that were happening in college and whatnot. But I mean, it still took a while
Yeah.
to like evolve that from one liners into like stories or like true autobiographical material. But yeah, for the first 2 years, I was set up punchline guy, and I still have mad respect for comics that work that angle because I mean,
That's tough
you and I can do
to
it like
do a lot.
you and I could do like a 30 or 40 minute set, and there's like,
Mhm.
7, 8, 10 bits in there, but one liner guys have like 300.
Yeah, no, man, it's insane. But I
Mitch
enjoyed
Hedberg,
that
Stephen
because
Wright,
he had,
Jimmy Carr. I
oh
love,
my God,
love those one liners.
my favorites, man. Some of my favorites. One I appreciate is my mom really loved Mitch Hedberg. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's right, mom. You get it. You get it. I thought that was cool. Just from being the older, generation, be like, nah, this guy's funny. I'm like, hell yeah, mom. You know what you're talking
Did
about,
you ever, okay, this happened to me yesterday. Did you ever get like
Mhm.
a joke stuck in your head the same way you get a song stuck in your head? Like somebody's bit or part of a bit just like stuck in your head like the same way a song would? Do you ever get that?
Oh, yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
yesterday I had Mitch Hedberg's banana bit stuck in my head. Mitch, do you want a frozen banana? No, but I want a
Yeah,
regular banana later. So yeah, I've had that stuck in my
just
head.
playing over and over.
Did you ever get to see Mitch?
No, man. One of my one of the things I always wanted to do is see Mitch. There's a few comedians that I wish I could have seen, before they passed, of course. But yeah, Mitch never got a chance to see him.
I got the chance to
But
see Mitch a couple times, man. He was awesome. The night that inspired me to finally try stand up, Mitch was on that show. It was I mentioned Mitch on the pod before, so I apologize to all the people that have heard this, but I was debating on doing stand up. I wanted to do it. I knew I was going to try it eventually. And I went and saw Comedy Central live, and Birbiglia was the host, Hedberg was the
oh,
middle, and Dave Attell and Lewis Black co-headlined. And that night, I was like,
wow,
I'm trying this, and then I did very shortly after. But
nice.
Mitch did like Mitch may have did like 30 or 35 in the middle, even before Attell and Lewis Black headlining. And dude, Mitch was fucking murdering. It was my first time hearing 3,000 people laughing, and I have just
Yeah,
never heard that sound before. It was like Mitch was absolutely fucking killing. It was. I think about that a lot.
no, man. Like when you see something like that, it sticks with you, man.
With
Like
one liners.
killing it.
Yep.
But it was everything about him was just perfectly done. Like
Hmm.
his cadence, like his temperature of the jokes. Everything just works so well together that
Yeah.
now you see a lot of wannabes, but there can only be one. He's that good.
No, it's such a unique art form. And one of the first comics I was ever obsessed with was Stephen Wright. And he just
Hmm.
has millions of them, and they're so
Oh, dude,
funny. I saw Stephen Wright last
man,
summer.
one that
Okay, go ahead, go
one
ahead.
that one of my favorite jokes that it just it's so silly, but he's like, I lost my buttonhole,
I lost.
and it's
Yep.
just for some reason it just cracks me up. Like
Dude, I remember
that's
being
hilarious.
like 11 or 12 years old and just walking around like some people are afraid of heights, not me. I'm afraid of widths. That's so funny. And like I had a woman say to me, "You're wearing two different color socks," and he goes, "I don't go by color, I go by thickness." Like that
Yeah,
stuff. I'm
the
a
look.
kid and I'm laughing so hard at this.
Yeah,
I was walking
it's
my dog
very
around the
right
building
in your
on the
face.
ledge. Like,
Yeah, he was brilliant, man.
yeah, I saw Stephen Wright last
He
summer do 90 minutes of one-liners. That is,
Oh my God,
I
that's
mean,
like 4,000 jokes.
it's insane. And even the ones I heard 30 years ago, I was still laughing at because it's just something so. When you see and hear it live, it's a whole different experience. It's like I've heard some of those
Oh
jokes my
yeah,
whole life, but I'm still laughing like it's the first time I heard them because it's him right there doing it live.
yeah, oh
No
yeah.
opener
I
either.
remember.
No opener. Like the house lights go down. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Wright, and he comes out and does 90 minutes, and then he says goodnight and walks off. I'm like, that is so simple and so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man, I enjoy seeing stuff like that, especially like how Louis C.K. used to just be like, "Ladies and gentlemen," no big hype or nothing. Like one of my favorite things I hate is MC be like, "Hey, what's your intro?" I'm like, I don't know. They don't care, do they really? Can you just
No,
bring
they
me
don't.
up?
I I'm
Just
such
bring me up.
I'm such an intro guy, and by that I mean lack of intro. Like,
Yeah.
dude, nobody cares. And like, I mean, I get it if you have a special that just came out, or like, or if you're a name and you want the one big thing they know you for in the moment. I totally get it. But like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
when people like even famous and non-famous comics, when they have like more than two things said about them, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Oh man, like I remember this one I was hosting, and this guy gave me a list. It
Oh,
looked like a long grocery list. I'm like, can you pick like three of them? I'll do three of them.
seven.
Like, it's like
Oh, you
20
know
of them,
them.
man.
Like I remember hosting forever ago, and certain people would be like, "All right, Letterman, Leno, Conan." I'm like, "All of you're just gonna name all of them?"
Yeah, all of them. Can I just do one?
How about he
Oh,
makes
this
the late
person.
night rounds or whatever?
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah,
Anytime someone asks me, I'm like, just say he has done this before. I trust you. Just say anything. I don't care.
just say that's what I say. I'm like, just say your next comic is Pat House. That's all. And then some people are like, "Oh, I got you." I'm like, "Don't just say my name. Tell them I'm next."
Man, I'll tell you one of my favorite times of that is so I'm at home on a Friday, about to light one up, got my pajamas on, about to lay it down. As soon as I lay down, I get a call from Goodnights. It's Brandy Brown. What are you doing? I said, I'm chilling. What's good? I need you here in 10 minutes. I'm like, but I'm in my 10 minutes, click, and just hangs up. So I'm like, all right, I have no problem. Brandy needs me. I'm there. So I get there, and Bill Bellamy had kicked some dude off of his show.
For what, you
And
know?
yeah, so apparently this guy had this bit on coming out as gay, and then they would play the song "I'm Coming Out," and he would dance up on people, but he licked the dude's bald head. He humped another dude. And he was getting drunk all weekend, harassing staff, like one of those guys, right?
Oh
Just
boy.
like whoa. So then Brandy's like, "Here's a glass of wine." I had a wine bitch. She says, "You can drink. I don't care. Just be funny." So I'm like, am I hosting? What am I doing? Like, I'm sweating bullets here trying to figure out how much time I need, what jokes. So Bill Bellamy comes in, introduces us, and then tall dude, like 6'7", huge. It's his manager slash security comes in. It's like, you you Mello? I was like, yeah. He said, better be funny. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. What? So then the host comes in. He's like, what's your name? I said, Mike Mello. He said, I'm just gonna call you Mello. What you want me to say about you? He'd be like, I say clubs and colleges. He's like, don't worry about it. So he goes up there. He's like, y'all, this next comic, man, this dude funny. You seen him on BET Comic View. You seen him on And me and the security guard looking at each other like, who else he bringing on? He said, y'all giving up for my man Mello. And I'm like, oh, snap, that's me. No, that's too much, bro.
Dude,
It's too
I
much. Bring it down.
I started in a black comedy club. For the first 2 years, all I knew were black audiences, and all my first friends in comedy were pretty much all black comics. And I got those kind of intros all the time. And it was, if anything, it made me look worse. It's like, no, I haven't been on BET. Here's this awkward white dude who's like 6 months in.
Uh, you seen him rip up on Apollo. Y'all put your hands together for Pat House. You were like, wait, what? That's hilarious.
This episode is brought to you by Magic Mind. Magic Mind is the perfect little energy drink to help you focus and get the work done while also relieving stress and feeling relaxed. I struggle with being productive, just sitting down and getting the work done, but Magic Mind is here to help. The good folks over there sent me a couple of their bottles, and they have been fantastic. It's a great little energy drink that helps you with energy and focus. They're perfect for at home, on the go, or anytime you need a calming energy boost. And I know those words sound like they don't even belong together. Calming energy boost. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. These shots do the trick, and I'm able to sit down and get the work done while also feeling calm and relaxed. And if you go to www.magicmind.com/doit, you can get 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with my code DOIT20. That is www.magicmind.com/doit for 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days. So jump on it with the code DOIT20. Click on the link in my episode description for all the info. All the promo code and info is right there with the episode. Magic Mind, guys, check them out. So one thing we talk about on this podcast here is, the magic of when you are in your local scene and, you're hosting and you're featuring, you're headlining off nights. Nothing is better than when like a big headliner comes through town and swoops you off your feet and takes you on the road. You have toured with Russell Peters and Tracy Morgan. So tell me about that, because I know what it's like. Segura, Sebastian Maniscalco, Dan Cummins have been very, very good to me. So I want to hear your experience, because, man, when you when one night you're at your home club and then a week later you're across the country or around the world, it is it's wild. So I'd love to hear how those guys helped you.
Yeah, man, definitely. So one weekend, they got me to feature for Tracy Morgan, and I had met Tracy like a few times before when he came through, but usually a friend of mine would open up for him, but I just hang out, just kind of hang in the back and just kind of shut up and not be seen. So this weekend I actually got to work with him, and man, it was a fun weekend. He's wild. You can never tell when he's playing or when he's serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're always on your toes.
I've met him, but I don't know him.
Yeah, like he's just like one minute he's like, what I'm saying? I like this hip hop game. This hip hop game is like the comedy game. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, yeah, okay. And then he'd be like, what the hell is that? We look like, you don't know when I'm playing. I'm like, gee, we don't. God, I'm just trying to keep up. But yeah, he so one show, like I'm getting off, just get off stage, and he's like, how much you want for that last bit?
Oh,
and I was like, man, you crazy. No, because he's been messing with me all weekend. So I'm like, man,
also,
you stupid.
You said last bit. Is your closer like your baby?
Then it was fading out.
Okay.
It was my closer, but it was one of those that I'm about to retire.
Okay.
Basically, it's
like you weren't as emotionally
closer.
as attached as you would have been like 2 or 3 years before or whatever.
Yeah, probably like a year before, because I was just like, I'm getting tired of doing this joke. But it's funny because I told you like I started comedy because I went to jail. That joke was about going to jail
Mm-hmm.
that week. So he's like, I like that jail bit. How much you want? I was like, man, you crazy. He's like, let me know. So luckily I had a friend
What a
there. He's
weird
like,
question.
yeah. I'm like, I've never sold a joke before. So my buddy's like, sell it to him cheap and just ask to work with him again. I was like, all right, that's sounds good, you know.
Beautiful
So
answer.
I gave him a number and I said, I'd love to work with you again. He goes, pulls out a knot like this, and I'm like, shit. I should have said way more money. No. But he pulls out a fat knot of money, gives me some money. He goes, so I love to work with you again. He's like, what are you talking about? I just hired you as a writer. Then that next Tuesday, I was in Portland.
No
And
shit.
then I was in Utah. Then it was like, you know what I'm saying? So it was that quick. I went to work like, I ain't quitting, but I ain't going to be here for a minute. But yeah,
Wow.
it was that quick. Like,
So, did you guys like write together or?
well, so he was like, I don't need you to write my jokes. I need you to punch them up. So I would
Oh,
open
okay.
up for him, and me and another comic would open up for him. And then I would go, after I'm done, go in the back, get my pad, and just sit up there and watch it and punch
Like
his
a
jokes
like
up.
like a
Like,
court stenographer.
yeah, basically, you know. But like, I gave him some jokes, like, man, I think this will just work with you just because of who you are. And to see him take those jokes and then make them his kind of makes you feel like just as good as if you made up a joke and you did it. You know, it's almost even better when you write it for someone else and it works.
That's
You're like,
pretty
yeah, that's
cool.
my shit. Yeah.
I don't think I've. Well, yeah, I've given people tags before and then watched them do it, and then like I've seen them go both ways. I've seen it kind of flop and then seen it crush. Where you're like, yeah, I wrote that. I wrote that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I had that. I had one friend go up and I said, man, say this. He goes, all right, that's funny. Then I say it and it bombed. He goes, thanks a lot, Mello. I'm like, why would you call me out? He would always throw it back in my face, like, thanks a lot, Mello. He told me to say it.
That
I'm
was
like,
definitely for
go
the
look at
other
it.
comics in the room to throw you out, which I do kind of respect. I mean, there's nothing funnier
Yeah.
than when you throw your buddies under the bus or watching your friends kind of eat it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's some of the best time.
Because we've all
But
been there
yeah,
and we
so,
can absolutely point fingers. I always say that. We can watch our friends absolutely suffer on stage because we have been there. So, yes, we can point
oh, yeah.
fingers.
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, I remember I did this one joke so bad. My roommate and two other comics came up to me. He goes, yeah, man, I'm going to need those keys. I was like, huh? He goes, I'm going to need those keys. You got to move out. I can't. I can't have you saying shit like that. You gotta. I have your stuff packed by the time you get home. But that's what I liked about it. We were honest about how bad stuff was, and you know, they would be harsh with it, but also you knew they cared. They wanted
Oh,
you to do well,
absolutely. I mean, you want to see your
and
friends
I
do
think that's
well
what's missing. Yeah, absolutely. But we're gonna
for
give you
the
a hard
most
time on
part.
your way there. You're gonna hear it on the way there, but we're gonna make sure you get there. But you're gonna hear it. But I
How
think
did
that's
you?
what's missing now in the game.
What do you mean, that kind of peer help, or
That that honesty, that straight, that dickiness that comes with being a
Mhm.
comic and seeing someone do bad bits. I think now with social media, it's about hyping everybody up
Oh, absolutely.
when it should just be like, nah, dude, that was terrible. Try again. Like everyone who was mean to me when I started helped me.
Yeah,
Like I had this one guy tell me like, oh, dude, you're not funny enough, so I took you off the list. I guarantee you nobody would hear that nowadays. You know, everyone gets
not
their time, which I'm cool
at
with that.
all.
I'm totally cool with that. But there's a sense of, oh, I got to try harder now to get some stage time instead of being like, "Oh, I'll just try it next week." No, it's like, I got to be funny to get up on this stage. So it's a
Um,
little more drive.
yeah. So speaking of those early days like that, is anybody around still from when you first started? Anybody from your class still
I
doing
would
it?
say Andy Forrester,
Oh yeah.
very fun. Yeah, Andy, like he was there when I first started, pretty much. Not many. I'm trying to think who else.
Did other people
Um,
get out of the game, or did they just move to like New York or LA or something, or Chicago?
I
That's
think
always
most of them are out of the game now. You got your Caleb Elliott's. He started when he was 14, so he's still in it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really many from when I started in the scene, in the local scene, that's still doing it.
Oh wow.
Well, I would say like Derek Thompson. He's up in New York now. DT. I think he's up in New York.
I know that
So
name.
I think
I
he's
think I
still
know. I
doing it.
definitely know who that is.
Yeah.
How? So
But
tell me
other than
about your
that, I don't
Russell
think
Peters
really anybody
hookup.
doing it. Oh well, Russell. I basically linked up with him. I was featuring, and he walked in. He goes, "Are you the feature?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "We'll see." I'm like, "Shit, is he
Is this
gonna
a
kick me off?"
is this at Good Nights also?
Yeah, it's at
Okay.
Good Nights, and it was right after working with Tracy, so it was like he liked my stuff. We had a great weekend. We hung out all weekend, and I'm sure you heard stories. He's one of the nicest people in the game.
I've heard that from
Like,
so many people because I know Greg Rogel used to open for him a lot, or still does. I don't even
yeah,
know. But
yeah,
I
probably,
I haven't seen Greg in a long time. But I mean, I know a ton of comics. I've had nothing but nice things to say about Peters. But I've only met him once at the Hollywood Improv, and he could
yeah.
not have been nicer to me. And pretty sure his
He's like
watch.
just so down to earth.
I could tell. I mean, I could definitely tell. He was sitting in the back watching everybody and enjoying the show, and then went up and did his thing. And
Hmm.
yeah, so you featured
Oh,
for him
dude,
at Good
class
Nights, and
act.
then was it just like that?
Yeah, like he was like, "What are you doing next week?" I'm like, "Nothing now. What's up?" All
Ne-
my plans are canceled. So then,
Next week is so much cooler than like something further down the road. Like any work
yeah,
with a headliner that wants to bring you around is amazing, but something about next week is like, oh shit,
yeah, I can get my shit together. But
yeah.
yeah, that was just like that. He took me up to Virginia, did a few cities up in Virginia, and then every time he come, still today, anytime he comes to North Carolina or if he's close, he'll hit me up when he's close to this side.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
know, yeah. So we this past last summer we went to what did we do? We did the DPAC, which is our big uh, theater out here, big arena. We did Parks Casino.
In Philly?
Yeah, did
Oh,
that.
nice.
Um, and then we did the MGM Grand. So it was a
Um,
nice little.
was
Like
that
he
the
just comes.
Baltimore D.C.
Uh,
Harbor one?
yeah, yeah, the National Harbor one,
I did that
which
with
was cool.
Sebastian, and I think
Oh, dude, that place is
it's
incredible.
gorgeous room. I'm trying to think if I've ever told this story in the podcast before. I probably did. So I featured, or I didn't feature it with 2-man show. Me and Sebastian at the MGM Grand in Washington D.C. National Harbor. It was a Sunday. It was a big Sunday show. 3 days later, I'm featuring for Mark Normand at Helium in Philadelphia. Literally 3 days later. After the show, a woman came up to me and said, "Hey, I saw you with Sebastian on Sunday, and you did a lot of the same stuff the other night." And I'm like, fuck you. These shows were, these shows are literally 200 miles apart. Two
Yeah,
separate,
and you're
complete,
gonna come say that?
featuring for somebody in a club and then opening for somebody in a giant theater. Those two gigs are light years apart, but I was still doing my best stuff. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I I think about, I can still see her face, and I think about that often.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that'll take you right back down. You're like,
Oh,
shut
yeah.
the hell
But
up,
at the same time, I'm fully aware of how hilarious that is, because
lady.
that's just
Yeah.
so absurd in our world. That's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and the odds of her seeing me in DC and Philly 3 days apart is kind of astronomical odds in itself.
Oh no, yeah, no doubt. That's crazy.
Now,
I know one time Russell was performing in Atlanta, and me and my buddy were like, "Hey, we're just gonna come down and see you, watch the show." He's like, "Yeah, come down." So he's in this big theater, and so we're in the back eating, and he's just like talking to his brother. He's like, "Yeah, give Mello 10 minutes up front." I was like, "Huh?" He goes, "Yeah, you can come all the way down here, and I'm not giving you a spot. I've got a plate full of food just ready to eat." I didn't think about it. So then I had 4 minutes to prepare for something I was not prepared to do. Like, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I mean, I was prepared, but I'm
yeah,
thinking I'm just going to hang out. But then he's like, "No, it's only 4,000 people. Go out there and just give me 10 minutes. And I'm like, I
Oh
never said no. I
no,
never said no.
you just need you just need a couple minutes to sit down and think, what are my jokes? What can I do
Yeah.
here? Now
Yeah.
you've done stand up internationally, right?
No, just here.
Oh, I thought you did stuff overseas.
No, I wish. That's
Yeah,
my
me
goal for
too.
this year.
Oh,
That's
nice.
my goal for this year.
Are you able to make that
I
happen?
definitely want to go. I hope so. I got a hookup in
Nice,
London. So
nice.
I'm like, he runs a show out there. So I'm like, yo, man, hook me up. I'd at least want to do that. You know
Oh,
what I'm
very
saying?
cool, man. Yeah, I would
I
love to
haven't
do
done it.
more
So
stuff.
that's my goal. Yeah. I'm just
That's
waiting on my passport. Like, come on, passport. Let's go.
long waiting
So,
process now.
no, it's down to a month now.
Is it
So,
real? Is it back to? Oh, good, good, good. I need to update mine.
yeah, because I mean, I've been waiting, but I'm a month out
All right. What else do you have
now. I think.
on tap for this year? Are you working on anything off to the side, or are you just focusing on stand up?
Just like basically, I want to. That's a loaded question. Yeah, basically focus on stand up, but more focus more on my online presence.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna come out with more skits, and I've been writing like for a long time stuff that I haven't even touched. So it's like, all right,
I'm very familiar with.
now that my
Yeah.
album's out, I can be like, all right, now I have to focus on new stuff,
Yep.
which is the next hour. So I want
Yep.
to by the end of April, I want to hopefully have that hour ready
Oh,
to
nice.
do another.
Are you going to film it somewhere? Or?
Yeah, I don't know where yet, but I need to get this hour down first.
Well, yeah, I
So
hear that. I mean,
you know, it's funny when because I just dropped my first album, and it's like,
congratulations. That's
uh,
awesome.
thank you, but now it's like, oh shit, now I gotta do this all over again.
Start over from square
But
one.
yeah, but it's exciting too. I'm very excited to
That's
just see
awesome.
what the next chapter is. So
I find that like every time I've released an album, I went on like a writing tear afterwards. Like I was excited. I knew I needed new stuff, and it was very motivating to hammer out some new stuff. And every time I released something, I had like a really good 10 to 15 minutes within like a month or two right after. Then I would get
yeah,
lazy.
yeah.
But I will say, after the immediate release of something, I would just like
Mhm.
be so excited to turn some stuff over.
Well, it's been the opposite for me. I felt like I've been struggling a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But I feel that's partially because I was trying my hardest to work that hour out like I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that out of my mouth now, it's just like.
Yeah.
So now it's just all right, just stepping away for a minute just to clear your head and then get back to the regular writing schedule.
Do you have a
You
regular
know,
writing schedule?
yeah, I try to write at least an hour a day.
Hey, that's awesome. I
Especially
should be
like
doing
at
that.
this. I mean, I ain't saying that it's happened every day, but at least take an hour out to even think or just go over stuff I already have. Just I gotta at least look at it
Mm-hmm.
or write it, even if it's not a full joke, just to write something,
Yeah.
um, just to keep my fingers instead of texting it because I can never remember a joke after I text it. I have to write it.
Dude, 100%. And I think it's something
Yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres said years and years ago. She said it in Comic Insights, Franklin Ajayi's book, that
Hmm.
you should just do one thing every day to further your career. Write a joke, change a joke, edit a joke, send an email, make a phone call, and just one thing a day. It's so simple, but also sometimes so hard at the same time. But just
Good.
one thing a
And
day.
most comedians aren't the most go get them. Maybe
No,
that's
not at
why I'm
all.
where I'm at.
All right.
It's like when I
Okay.
started, it would be like the ones with the comics with the best posters were the
Mm-hmm.
worst comics because I'm like, man, they're focused on their presentation
More
more
than
than their act.
what they're doing on stage. Yup, that's
Yeah.
got to be the same in every scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, one more thing before I let you go. I always love getting a horror
Okay.
story out of people. So tell me a story of a nightmare show What comes to your mind first when you think of absolute hell gig?
Oh God, I would say working with Michael Blackson, and
Oh,
it looked like a middle school cafeteria in the middle of this place called Rocky Mount.
I know him from
And
way back because I don't know if he's from Philly originally, but like when I first
yeah,
started at the Laugh House, he was around a lot. So
yeah,
yeah, he
yeah.
and I go way, way back with him.
Oh man, so I did this show. I opened up for him, and so my friend Mike Spurlock drove me there because I had no car, and a short white dude, one liner guy, funny as hell. So we get there, and I had this bit about guilty white people,
Hmm.
like in my neighborhood, and it's like, I'm sorry, what happened to your family back in the day with slavery? And then I'm like, well, give me $5 then, right? Well, these three black girls decided to have a conversation of why $5 wasn't enough money, like a full out conversation. $5, and I'm like, it's a joke. And then they hated me. So then they saw my buddy Mike, and so they're like, hey, do you want some time? He's like, yeah, sure. And meanwhile, I'm at the bar with my drink. He goes up there and he murders it. Like they love him. So he gets off. I'm at the bar. I ain't have but one drink. I'm supposed to have an open bar tab. They cut me off the one drink, right? Mike's at the table with these three black girls. They just rubbing on him, and he's grinning ear to ear. It's like they want us to go to Mama's house. I'm like, what the hell? So then we ended up in the hood in Rocky Mount. Country hoods are different than city hoods. Like country hoods is like they can bury you out there. So we're in this spot waiting to smoke some weed, and there's this kid at the door who I thought was like a grown up. He's only 13. He's got a beard. So Mike's having a blast. So this girl's sitting in between us. She goes, hey, y'all, we just went to a comedy show. Well, I'm sitting in between them. And she goes, oh, he, the comedian, reached around me and pointed at my buddy Mike and said, he, the comedian. And then pointed at me and said, oh, he was there too. So,
Oh,
like, then I had to go back and find the promoter because he was running from me because he didn't want to pay. I had to chase him all the way back to his hotel room to get paid. But I just remember that show. I bombed so hard to where they cut me off at the bar. The girls at the bar didn't think I was a comedian. And then I had to
oh,
chase the booker down for my money
oh,
that he
yup.
didn't want to pay me.
That'll stick with you.
Yeah. So one of the worst ones, horror
Yeah,
stories.
dudes. I mean, I have a couple in my back pocket that it makes my arm hair stand up when I think about them, man. We've
But
all
yeah.
had nights where you are like, what am I doing with my life? And then you drive home with the radio off, 10 and 2, just contemplating everything.
Man, the longest drives ever are
Oh,
those drives home.
dude. So this just happened to me last summer. Uh, one of the worst weekends of my entire career, literally in 20 years, took place last summer in South Carolina. And it was also my longest car ride home. And 3 out of the 4 shows I absolutely hated. Luckily, Saturday Late Show was decent. Saturday Late Show
Yeah.
was good. But both Friday and Saturday early, I hated every second. And then I just had 13 hours in the car to just sit with
Oh,
my thoughts from that weekend. And man, it took me a couple of days to like bounce back
shake it
from
off.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I think I really like about this job will humble you quick.
Oh, and it doesn't
Like,
matter how long you've been doing it or what you've done in your career or
nope.
anything, man. You can be on top of the world, and so, man, not every crowd's going to be your crowd, even if they're paying to see you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Like, I remember one of my favorite times is this guy. He had been doing comedy for a little while, and I'm just going to do a spot. And then they were coming up to me and it's like, would you rather headline? And I was like, nope. I'm here to do my spot. I'm not here to take anyone's spot. I'm here to do
Hmm.
my spot. Just my time. Trying new stuff out. That's all I want to do. So I guess to ask the guy headlining, he had an attitude, which I would too. Like, you
Yeah.
got me to do it. And I was like, look, man, I told him I didn't want to do it. I'm not here to take anyone's spot. He goes, do your best stuff, man. I can follow anybody. I'm like, don't, the comedy guys are listening. don't don't piss them off. It's like, man, uh, I've been the lead host at Comedy Zone for 3 months now, and I'm just like, stop.
Yeah.
Just do your thing, man. Don't even bring none of that.
Just
Do
go
you,
up,
man.
do your thing.
Man, 3 minutes in, he's pulling his handkerchief out, rubbing the sweat off his forehead. I mean, like, ate it bad. And I'm like, dude, there's a level of confidence you should have. Don't let it tilt over to cockiness,
Mm.
because that's when the comedy gods will be like, oh, where? You think you got it?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Or even if you just had, every time I have a streak of, a handful of good shows, a great weekend. When I saw you in Raleigh last month, every show was great. It's always in the back of your mind that, like, oh, one of these upcoming
it's
shows
coming.
is not gonna be all that great.
It's coming. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. I keep that in the pocket right there, man. It's like, one's coming.
we have
Like,
to, because
anytime
it's
I'm going on a
true.
big show. Yeah. Anytime I'm going to do a big show, I purposely go to a lot of mics just to be like, all right, one of these has got to be it. Because I don't
Yep.
need it to happen here. I need it
Also,
to happen here.
get your
Let me get
reps
it out.
in, get it ready. All right, man, dude, tell us
Yeah.
about the album and where everybody can find you.
All right. You can find me on IG, Mike Mello Miller on IG, Facebook, Michael Miller, government name. And then my album, Childish, out on all streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube Music. Catch my clips on Rhizome Comedy that
Awesome.
are starting to come out. And
Awesome.
you can find me on hitcore.com on DL Hughley Speakeasy. Throw that in there.
Oh, very cool,
But
man.
other than that,
All right, dude, we got
that's
to
it.
cross paths again soon. Whether I'm down there or you're up here in
Absolutely.
Philly, we are absolutely doing a show. Actually, you and I may never even work together. I don't even know.
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either.
Yeah. Man, we
So
got to make that happen.
we
We
do
got to get
have to
that.
make that
We got to make
happen.
that happen.
All right, Mike
Maybe
Mello,
I'll try
thank you.
to put together something down here so I can get you down here.
Dude, let's do that, because I was talking to Brady about doing his Wednesday was a winery or brewery show?
Oh, that's a nice spot. You should definitely do it. I
Dude,
think
he
you'll love it
he
there.
asked me to, so that's something we'll definitely try to do in the spring or early summer. So we'll absolutely link up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Sweet.
Very cool. Mike, dude, thank you. It was great talking to you. It was great seeing you last month, too. It's been literally forever.
Yeah,
So
you too, man.
it was good to catch up, man. Thank you for coming
Yeah.
here and talking shop with me.
Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it, man.
And Mike Mello, everybody.